Recently, there was a self-published author who went off on someone who gave a negative review of her book, and watching that unfold on Twitter and Goodreads was like watching someone's career spontaneously combust and burn to a point of no recovery. And I know that there are loads of videos out there on how to deal with negative reviews and how to cope with reviews on your book out there in the YouTube, BookTube, AuthorTube world. But I mean, why not have another discussion about it? Because that was kind of crazy to watch that blow up. My personal perspective is that if you are mentally prepared for everyone to love your book, and let's face it, all authors are mentally prepared for that, then you have to be equally prepared for almost everyone to dislike your book. And it won't be the case that everyone dislikes your book, because at the very least you like your book, and that has to be enough. If you're emotionally prepared for one extreme, then you need to be prepared for the other. And to not be prepared for the other is just a fatal mistake. If you don't think that you can emotionally cope with the idea that somebody does not like your work, or that doesn't connect with it, or worse still, that they hate it, then don't look at your reviews. It's not worth it. I know it's really tempting, but unless you are able to somehow filter the criticism and take what's useful and helpful, then just don't look at them. But sometimes reviews can be helpful in like particularly when you're writing a series and you're leaving like little crumbs throughout the books. And sometimes you will think you've explained things enough, or you've left adequate crumbs and you haven't. So sometimes you can take that from your reviews and actually learn from it and grow from it. But it really is safer to get someone you love to have a look at your reviews and to filter through them for you, rather than you going down that dark and twisty path alone. But ultimately what it comes down to is that if you cannot accept in any capacity that someone may not like your work, or that may have an opinion on your work that totally differs from yours, don't press publish. It's that simple. If you decide that emotionally you can cope with the idea that someone will have different feelings about your book than what you do, then by all means press publish. But just remember to practice gratitude, not entitlement, when it comes to your reviews. Be grateful that someone actually spent their time, which is the only thing they can't get more of, to actually read your book and review it. Reviews are great. The whole point of reviews is that they help filter out the people who maybe shouldn't be reading your book because it's not really going to be for them and they're not going to enjoy it as much. And it helps you find the people who are going to love it and enjoy it and want to spend time in that world you've created. They're the ones you're writing for anyway. And once you press publish, it's not yours anymore anyway. You've had all your time in the world, in that world, and it's time to let other people experience it, and their interpretation and their enjoyment of it is entirely theirs. Having any sort of discussion with the people who review your work beyond thank you for your time is really inappropriate. The idea that you would go to someone who's given you a negative review and either ask them to take it down or take them to task over it or try and explain the things that they missed is just, nope, no, don't do it. You need to remember that everybody comes to look at a piece of art with different biases, different trauma experiences, different life experiences, and that colors how we perceive and enjoy art. And different people like different types of art, different people like different types of music, and different people like different types of stories. And that's okay. There's more than enough room for everybody. Part of the job of an artist or an author or a content creator is to put yourself out there, and that requires you to make yourself vulnerable, to allow people to enjoy the thing that you have created. And so of course it stings a little bit if it comes back with less than stellar reviews, but you really do have to be prepared for that. And that is why being an artist, being an author is difficult because you have to open yourself up to criticism. And realistically, you yourself have judged other people's work. So if you want to be able to say you hated a book, or you loved a book, or you just couldn't get into it, well, you have to be prepared for someone to say the exact same things about your book. For me, I think the idea of reading your 5-star reviews as an author is just as dangerous as reading your 1 and 2 stars. Your 1 and 2 stars are gonna, crush your soul and take away your will to go on. And your 5 stars are going to inflate your ego and not necessarily teach you anything. It's your 3 stars that are going to teach you things, because they're going to be people who didn't hate the book, they didn't love the book, they maybe saw some plot holes and some errors, but that's where you're going to learn things. So if you do look at your reviews, look at your kind of middle row reviews, but still, it's dangerous territory, even though it's very, very tempting. So if you go in with a friend beside you or some alcohol beside you, but put away Twitter and don't go on Goodreads, and do not respond to any negative reviews with any sort of vaguely aggressive or self-righteous reply, because that's a fucking mistake. Saying anything to the people who have given you 3 or less star reviews is just... it's a way to kill your career before it's even got going, and it's a way to get shredded on Twitter, and there really is no defense. So you can say all you like, I'm just standing up for myself, my work deserves to be fairly reviewed, and their review shows that they didn't understand it, where it doesn't matter, because it's their experience of your book, and they've spent their time reading your book and reviewing your book, and they're allowed to think whatever they like about it. So don't go after them, because there is no justification. Just don't do it. Step away. The bottom line is, once you press publish, it's not yours anymore. So you have to let it go and let people love it, hate it, or feel medium about it, and you have to be okay with it. So if you like fantasy fiction books, this is my book, The Hunted. Don't forget to check it out. It is the first book of the Phoenix series and the second book in the Phoenix series, A Night Rises, comes out in the middle of January 2020.